All right. Hello, hello. Um, this is always the weird time where Facebook alerts everybody that there's a live. So I know it takes you a couple of minutes to sign on. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to sit and chat and connect and to focus on your health. So welcome, Melissa. So glad you're here. Welcome to all of you who will be listening later to this recording. The great thing about this Facebook Live is as soon as we're done, it's ready, it's on the page, and you can listen to it right away. And so this evening we are doing something different. We are doing a live Q&A. So I normally have a topic that I speak about, something specific related to weight releasing. And there were always a lot of questions coming up. So I thought, you know what, let's dedicate this whole session to answering your questions. Okay, so take some time now as we wait for others to come on the call and tell me your questions. Tell me your most burning questions. Tell me the questions that you're not sure about. There's no awkward question. There's no bad questions, okay? I'm showing off some roses here from Mother's Day. I got to be honest with you guys. I normally buy myself my own flowers, or I say to Preston, "Look what you bought me for Mother's Day." So this is what he bought me, or I bought myself and told him for Mother's Day. And I'm wearing this beautiful necklace from my son, very thoughtful, which I absolutely love. So I'm wearing it every day and enjoying it. There we go. You can see it a little bit better now. So hello, Cathy Carr. From Florida, welcome all the way from Florida, and welcome Holly. She says, I've released 30 pounds since January, but it's slowing down. Any idea what I can do to kick my metabolism in gear? Great question. So Holly, we will start with your question. I'm just waiting for more people to come on. So once you come on, just tell me hi or send me some love so I know that you're there, and we'll get started, okay? Or also think about a question that you've maybe thought about, wanted to ask, and we will address it, okay? I also have a couple questions from the last Facebook Live that I didn't get to, so I'm going to answer that question also. And we have Dorothea. Welcome, Dorothea. So glad you are joining us. So I want you guys to know before I start, just to make sure that you're in the right place. This is a faith-based talk. So I'll be talking about God. I bring God into the conversation. The program is called Weight Loss God's Way. And so for those of you guys who might be new and looking for a different approach to releasing weight, I invite you to join us and just be open to receive something different, okay? And as a result of that, I always start with prayer. And so wherever you are, as long as you're not driving, just bow your heads and we will get started. So Father, I thank you for another evening where we're able to spend time together through the magic of technology to come together from all over the world. Lord, teach us how to ask the right questions that will help us achieve the goals that we're looking for. I thank you for this time that you've carved out for us now to help us focus on our health. Lord, remove all distractions from us. Give us a spirit of openness so we can receive what it is you have for us to receive. I pray for every woman on the call. I pray for every woman who will be listening in later. Give them what they need to hear and allow them to receive it so that something that they hear can change their lives forever. In your holy and precious name we pray. Amen. All right. So I am excited about this different format. And it's just going to be a free for all. So I don't know what questions you guys are going to ask me. And I've prayed up even before. So I'm praying for wisdom also as you guys as I answer your questions. So just a little bit of background, just So you know what qualifies me to answer questions. I have had the privilege of being in the health and wellness space, in the health and wellness industry for over 30 years. I'm thinking it's probably about 33 years now. Yeah, I taught my first fitness class in my first year of university. So I have been teaching classes for ages, and from there went on to study phys ed and to been training and helping people get healthy for a number of years. And in the last 10 years, bringing in this aspect of faith to it has just skyrocketed. And it is that dramatic, skyrocketed success for a lot of the women that I work with. And so Weight Loss God's Way is the company, is the ministry, I say, that helps women release weight. So if you're curious, you want to find out a little bit more, check out www.weightlossgodsway.com, and you can find out more about what we do. But this Facebook Live will just give you a little bit of a taste, of a sample of the way that I work. Because it's very different from the traditional approaches. And so Holly's first question, so first of all, congratulations, Holly. She says that she's released 30 pounds since January. So that is amazing, because right now it's May. So that's great. And so Holly's experiencing what is natural, is that weight releasing normally starts off quicker in the beginning, and then it starts to slow down. It starts to slow down when your body gets closer to its what you call set weight, its set point. So for most of us, we have a natural built-in weight that our body likes to stay at. And when we try to go too far off of it, your body's like, no, I like that weight that I am. And so Holly, for you, you have to understand if this plateau, and a plateau is when you've been stuck at that weight for probably about 6 weeks or so. So if it's less than that, you might not necessarily be stuck. It is going to slow down. So first of all, let's answer your question. So what are some of the things you can do when your weight starts slowing down, the weight loss starts to slow down? The most important thing is to change it up somehow. Okay, so you're either going to increase your activity level, or you can actually decrease your activity level. So you might just take a break. You might just back off of your exercise for a week or a couple weeks. Change it up. If you're walking, add weights. Thank you so much, Demi. That's very sweet of you. If you're doing one type of exercise, change the exercises. Let's say you're doing squats, you might switch to lunges. If you're doing free weights, you might switch to your body weight, but your body gets accustomed. So Holly's saying it has not been 6 weeks and I still have a lot to lose. Okay, so Holly, it is natural that it is going to slow down. And I'm not sure how realistic it is to expect the same amount of weight in the first few weeks that will happen 5 or 6 months later. So it might just not be realistic to expect that much. In the beginning, a lot of the weight release is water, which is a good thing. But once your body, that excess water is gone, then it's going to be a lot slower. So Holly, you might consider changing your meal plan around. You might consider changing your exercise around. But change is what's important. Change is the key. Okay. And also accept that it's not going to be as fast as it was in the beginning. Does that help, Holly? Does that answer your question? How much were you releasing and how much has it slowed down? So was it maybe 2-3 pounds or 4 pounds initially and then it's cut down? Or so just tell me a little bit more. Okay, so we've had lots of people join us. Welcome Vanessa, welcome Sue and Kelly and Therese. So great to have you guys on. Holly, while you give me a little bit more information, Thanks so much, Holly. She says she loves the videos. Teresa's from Alabama. Welcome. So Melissa says, what are your thoughts on cheat meals? That is a great question. Melissa, I would say cheat meals are very individual to the person. And so for most people, I would say it's okay. But I also know some people where one bite is too much and one cheat meal will send them over the edge. And so it's important to understand your personality, where you are on your health journey. And so people who have more what I classify as a food addiction, they need to stay away from things like sugars. So if you have an actual food addiction, I would say you're not in a place to have a cheat meal, because one cheat meal opens the door for just, you can't stop. Okay, so Melissa, where would you say that you are? Would you say that you are a food addict? Do you know? And there's a question. You can go online and you can find surveys that will help you answer that question. So if you're a food addict, I would say no, there is no such thing as a cheat meal, because that will put you over the edge. Let me give you an example of my journey. So I had to go through a season where I knew I couldn't have a cheat meal, because that cheat meal will extend for 5 days, 6 days. And so I was at a season of my life where cheat meals just didn't work. And then as I developed, as I grew in the Lord, as I developed more discipline, as I got more things under control, as I dealt with a lot of the emotional issues, then I found I was able to have a cheat meal or a snack and not completely binge on it. So Melissa, it depends on where you are on your journey. I would say if you're not a food addict, try a cheat meal and see how you do, right? If you have that cheat meal and the next day you're able to go right back on track, then you're good. If that cheat meal extends to a cheat day or 2 or 3, then you're probably not ready for a cheat meal. So I do support it, especially if you're feeling like, oh, I'm deprived, I need something, but you've got to check and see, right? And so I think that's an easy test is, I had a cheat meal, it didn't work because I kept eating, I didn't know how to shut it off, then I would say no. Okay? Does that answer your question? Okay, so let's see, we have some more comments coming in. Holly said she started swimming this week. Yes, that helps. Wonderful. And so Holly, I would say continue to introduce new things into it. If you're not doing strength training, that is one thing I'd highly recommend to break a plateau or to keep the weight releasing happening is introduce weights. Now, here's the thing about the weights is on the scale, it won't necessarily reflect, but you should see it in your body. You should feel it in how your clothes fit. You should feel it. You just feel that, you know, that feeling where it's like, ooh, it's one of those feelings. And so I would say add weights if you're not already adding weights, and that will help to keep the weight release happening. Even though the scale might not necessarily show it, you're going to feel it. Okay, so welcome Ina, so glad to have you on, and welcome Cindy, just joining us. Holly says, so she was releasing 2 to 3 pounds a week. The last few weeks she gained 2, lost 3, gained 2, lost 3. Yeah, isn't it like that for a lot of us? And it is kind of like a cha-cha dance, we call it, where you're, you know, 1 step forward, 2 step back, or it's this dance that you do. And you know what? That is normal. Right? So I think also to be realistic about the journey and understand that it's never going to, oh, no, this way. It's never going to look like this, right? It's not going to be that steady decline. It is going to look more like a cha-cha or like this. And that's absolutely normal because your body is never the same on any given day. Your hormones are going to change from month to month. So I think another thing also is to accept that you're not always going to release. And if you don't, do not beat up on yourself. That is so key because that's what takes us out of the game a lot of the time. So yes, it's going to go up and down. I would say at the end of each month, do you still have a negative? Are you still in the negative? And I think that is what's more important than from week to week if you are gaining or losing, okay? Because just the natural of your cycle of your body isn't going to have you releasing every week consistently. When you do, it's nice, but it won't always be that way. Okay, let's see. What do you suggest for micronutrients? What do you use? Another question. So guys, a lot of these questions, my answer is going to be very similar. It depends on your body. So Cindy, it depends on, so her question is, what do you suggest for micronutrients? Okay, and so micronutrients are vitamins, minerals, and so you have to know your body, what it needs. If you have the budget, you can get a test done and it will show you what your body needs. But Cindy, I would look at what am I feeling? What are my symptoms? So for me, I take vitamin C. I take it in my water. I take something called MSM. And it doesn't even matter what I take because my symptoms are my muscles are always tired, so I take something to help replenish my muscles. I take iron supplement because I have low iron. So do you see, Cindy, it's very individual. If you're working out hard, you might need another supplement. If you're vitamin D deficient. So really, it's something I think on your physical, talk to your doctor. Do the tests reflect that you need anything, or maybe invest in a nutritionist and get an analysis and see what your body needs, because what I need is going to be very different from what you need. But just to tell you, Cindy, I'm looking in the cupboard right now. I take something for my joints because I have arthritic joints. So I take, it's called curcumin, which is also, I just forgot the name of it. It's the stuff you put in your, to season your food. What is it called? If you guys know what it's called, curcumin, cumin, it's not cumin, not coriander. Oh, anyways, it's one of those. So it's a natural of those for my joints because I do have arthritic joints. As I said, I take something to help my muscles recover, which is called MSM. I take vitamin C, I take vitamin D, I take primrose oil because my hormones are sometimes ridiculous. Sometimes hot flashes, sometimes I feel great, sometimes I'm not a nice person to be around. And so sometimes I take the primrose oil for that. Let's see what else. And so something else I learned, Cindy, is as far as micronutrients go, it's not here's my concoction and I keep taking those forevermore. What's important, I find, is to tune into your body. You might take back off for a bit, come back on. Notice how maybe something was off that was affecting your body and now it's been corrected or it's been fixed. So it's not just that here's your regime, here's your handful of pills, pop them every day, but notice how is your body reacting. You might try them at different times. You might start removing some of them, but it's really a matter of getting in tune with your body, noticing how your body feels. Do you have energy? Is your skin dry? Is your hair brittle? Are your eyes tired? All kinds of symptoms. Are you gassy? Are you bloated? Are you PMSing? What's your mood like? So there's so many other things that you have to consider that it's not that easy to say, here's what you should take. Okay, does that help? All right, let's see. Welcome, Jenna. So glad you're here. Okay, lots more coming. How do you stimulate weight loss dealing with the hormone issues like PCOS? Please tell me what PCOS is. Trace, is it Trace? Sorry, I said Tracy. But again, that's, as I was just explaining, Trace, it takes a while for hormone issues to identify what is the hormone that's off. Estrogen, testosterone, there's so many factors. And so what I would suggest is write a journal in the space of a month, probably even over the course of a few months. write down how you're feeling on each day. And it's work, right? There's no easy way around it. Write down today, here's what I'm feeling. And so you will actually chart your monthly cycle. And whether or not you have a monthly period or not, your body still goes through a hormonal cycle that you have to understand. And for me, because I struggled with hormones for a while, it took me a period to understand, a period of time to understand what was going on with my hormones and what I needed to do to correct it. So first you have to understand, and there's an amazing book, it's called The Hormone Cure. I highly recommend it. I don't remember the author, but it's called The Hormone Cure. And she helps you identify what it is by the physical symptoms you have. So it could be low libido, it could be low energy, it could be moodiness, it could be lack of menstruation, it could be dry hair, it could be, and she goes through a number of symptoms and you're just like, that's me. And so then you can start to categorize yourself into, okay, hormone imbalance, is it because of high progesterone, low progesterone, high estrogen, low estrogen, testosterone? There's so many different factors. And then when weight loss is a huge factor when it comes to hormones. So first identify what is off on the hormones, and it's called the hormone cure, and then you will adjust accordingly. Because what I might tell you for PCOS might be completely different for one person than for the other, okay? All right, I hope that helps. Awesome. Welcome, Anna. Welcome, Joan. Dorothea says, I haven't seen much progress on the scale, but I see a change in my body. Yay. My clothes also look better. Only lost 1.5 pounds in 3 weeks. Walking 6 days a week. Also started portion reduction. Wonderful. I used to eat large amounts of candy, but no longer. And you know what? That is so much better to hear than I lost 10 pounds. I lost 10 pounds, it's wonderful, but look at all these lifestyle changes that will have a cumulative effect over time. And a lot of the times we don't see it on the scale, but the fact that you're walking means that you're probably building muscle as you're walking, which isn't necessarily going to reflect on the scale. Cutting out the candy is going to affect your blood sugar levels. What else? You're feeling better in your clothes, which is going to affect your confidence. So I like what you're sharing, Dorothea, because this is just, it's not only about the number on the scale. In fact, if it's just about the number on the scale, you're going to be so frustrated because the scale doesn't always give you a realistic picture of what's really happening on the inside. Okay, so that's wonderful. Congratulations, Dorothea. And I think you should be proud. Don't worry about the scale. Okay, Joan says, I use vitamins with all the B's for the joints. Yeah, and it definitely, it depends on what your body needs. So for achy joints, you're going to need something. For arthritis, you're going to need something. It's all going to be different. If you have a low immune system, you're going to need something. So Cindy says, thanks and yes. Joan says, first timer, so glad you're here, Joan. I hope you're enjoying it. And welcome, Lisa. And Joan is from Guyana in the Caribbean. Oh, bless Guyana. Awesome. Welcome, Brenda, and welcome, Becky. Oh, boy. Trace says, any tips on maintaining consistency? Oh, boy. It's an ongoing challenge, consistency, because consistency is something that you have to keep practicing in order to be successful at, but you get frustrated and then you stop. So my biggest, which doesn't seem helpful at all, the biggest tip on maintaining consistency is to stay consistent. And what I mean by that is when you fall off, Trace, first of all, understand why it is that you stopped. Okay, so we're not consistent at things, one, because there's some kind of, this is going to sound a bit weird, there's some kind of benefit, there's some kind of payoff that we're getting from staying stuck in our old ways. There's something that's pulling us to not doing the things we want, and that pull is stronger than the thing that we actually want. So for example, you say you really want to lose weight, but you wake up tomorrow and you still eat what you want and you don't exercise. And so those two factors, even though you want to develop consistency, there's a strong pull towards eating, let's say, chips. And so instead of focusing on, I need to develop consistency, I would focus more on, why is it that I keep craving these chips? What is the chips providing me that I keep going back to it? So Trace, I wouldn't work so much on getting more consistent as I would practicing and understanding why it is you keep going back to the old behaviors. And Weight Loss God's Way is all about understanding why you do what you do and allowing the Holy Spirit to work on that part of you. Because normally there's some kind of hurt, there's some kind of breach, there's some kind of fear around why it is that you keep going back to your old habits. That safe, familiar place that's not serving you, but you keep going back there. You're getting some kind of benefit from it. You're getting, and we all do, we get a benefit in staying stuck. And I know it sounds really like, that's not a nice thing to say, but we're all getting a benefit from eating the unhealthy foods. We're getting a benefit from being inactive. We're getting a benefit from keeping the thoughts in our head. And sometimes the benefits aren't, we don't see the benefits in them, and sometimes the benefits are negative. In fact, most of the time they're negative, but it could be something as we get to stay in our place that we're at. We don't have to take responsibility. We don't have to take action. We don't have to be responsible. We don't have to grow up, you know, and that's just one example. It could be something very simple as you messed up, right? And that's a whole different issue. But as far as developing consistency, I would say don't focus on trying to be more disciplined. Focus on understanding why it is you keep falling back in that pit or the hole or whatever you want to call it. And that's where you need to bring God into the journey and ask him to help you with that reason and not so much on the consistency. And then that's where you keep practicing, okay? So don't practice being more consistent, practice understanding why it is that you keep slipping. So I hope that helps. Melissa says, I have started intermittent fasting several times a week and I love it. Not just physically how I feel, spiritually, God is teaching me so much. Amen, Melissa. I started that last year and also I love it. And I don't purposely talk about it because it's not for everyone. Well, actually, I think it is, but it's at the right stage of where you are on your health journey. So intermittent fasting is eating between a certain window called the feeding window. So for example, my feeding window is between 12 and 8. Okay, so that's when I eat, right? So guys, don't like, oh, what about breakfast? Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Da, da, da. That's why I don't tell, I tell a lot of people I do it. Right? Because it's something that works for me and I'm able to work out and I have great energy and I feel great about it. And so it's something I recommend for people who might be stuck on their journey, who might want to try something else, who wants to learn about putting down your plate and learning how to live without thinking of food all the time and eating all the time. This works wonderfully for me too, Melissa, because there's no question. Here's where I eat, right? I eat between 12 and 8. My boundaries are simple. And that's a boundary that I'm able to maintain a lot better than, say, the boundary of, okay, just have a little bit. I'm not really good with that little bit. I'm learning, but I'm still not have a handful. I need the whole thing. But this boundary of 12 to 8 works well for me. So yeah, congratulations, it's working. It is a discipline, and it can be enjoyable because, Melissa, that's that cheat meal you talked about. I can eat a snack in my window and still be in my boundaries. So it works for me. You're welcome, Trace. Shannon says, I love that advice. You are most welcome. Guys, so I can't believe we're like almost done. Any more questions? I can take one more question. If nobody has a question, I'm going to share a question that somebody asked on one of the other lives that I just didn't have time to answer. So I'll give you guys like 10 seconds to type in one more question. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, you can still type it in. So her question was, this was maybe about a month ago, and she asked, how can I get my husband on board? And so the implication there is that her husband is sabotaging her, was the implication there. And so she was asking, how can she get her husband on board? And so somebody else emailed me and they asked me a similar question about, what do you do when there's other people around who are not on this journey with you? And so my answer to her and to you is you can try all you want to try to tell someone to eat better, to try to tell someone that this isn't good for you. But the only thing that's going to have an impact on them is what they see you do. So especially for husbands, you guys have been on this journey together for a long time. So they know all your strengths, they know your weaknesses, they know how easily you cave in, they know that you've tried probably 20 diets in your lifetime. And so their expectation is, oh, here we go, here's another thing she's going to do, and then next month she's going to be back on, and then she's going to try this. So that is their experience with you. And so as you tell them, okay, I'm doing this program, but really this time it's different, they're not going to believe you because they know your past. And so the only thing that you can do is just you walk your walk, right? Don't say anything. Don't try to bring them along with you. Don't try to convince them. Don't nag them, but just you keep doing what you need to do. And sure enough, when they realize, okay, hey, she's not trying to convince me, she's not trying to bring me on board. And when they realize that you really mean it, then they will start to follow suit naturally, right? So it's going to take you leading the charge in order for other people to follow you. Remember, other people know your history, and so they're going to be skeptical. And that's why that you don't necessarily tell people, okay, I'm on this other diet, but you just quietly start doing what you're doing. And then as time goes, people are just going to start asking naturally. You're going to attract people to yourself, and you don't have to say anything. So welcome, Jackie, who just joined us. We are done. And so the recording will be ready just as soon as I hit end, and you guys can listen to it again. For those of you on the mailing list, I will also mail this out to you next week, next Tuesday. For those of you who want to get on the mailing list, simply go on to www.cathymorenzie.com. That's CATHYMORENZIE.com, and get on the mailing list. I promise you I won't send you junk. Tips, inspirations, success stories. If you're not getting blessed, then unsubscribe. But I'm telling you, I know that you will be blessed from our newsletter, so please sign up. Welcome, Cathy, who just joined us. Cathy, we are done, but in about 10 seconds, you'll be able to listen to this live recording. So guys, thanks so much for sharing. Thanks for bringing your questions. If you have other questions, don't be afraid to reach out to me. This Facebook Live I do every 2 weeks on a Thursday evening, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. You're welcome, Holly. Holly says great emails. Thursday, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So I will see you again in 2 weeks. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.